Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Chud Watch. I hope you're having a good one. I hope the beginning of your week is going excellent, as mine is. Today we're looking at the Shapiro siblings, both Abby and Ben. Abby's talking about why you should keep it in your pants, and Ben Shapiro's talking about why he didn't like the Batman. We have Elliot Hulse talking about why women should submit to men. We have another episode of the Tuttle Twins Libertarian Animated Series. We have Undead Chronic talking about what a badass he is for not giving in to society's demands. Terrence Popp talking about how he thinks Gen Z are degenerates, not worthy to be drafted by the government to kill people. Anthony Spade talks about what a Sigma he is. This guy gets locked out of Waffle House, and that about does it. Let's see what I missed from the chat while we were getting ready. Queer Goblin Lass, thanks for subscribing for 22 months. Appreciate it. Artemis8192, thanks for 15 months with Prime. And Nick says, to all the people where it's morning, there's a link. It's a good morning, hedgehog, which is very cute. And Blackwing Hecate says, I submit to my girlfriend instead. That'll work. I know someone, I think it was Halloween Town, asked about rating Surus later. Sure, he's doing a thing for Ukraine. Sounds good. Blackwing Hecate says, can I rather? You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. This is America. Unless you're not in America, then you're in a godless commie land, as we all know, where you have no freedoms and have to stand in bread lines or something. I don't know. Neemsor Kolboth, thanks so much for gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the channel. We're almost on a hype train. Bumble Homestead with 200 bits says, happy birthday, the Pastel Dyke. This works like Cameo, right? Yeah, I'm cheaper than Cameo and I do it live. Seriously, though, happy birthday, Pastel Dyke. Hope you're having a good one. Huz Khalifa, thanks for subscribing at Tier 1 and kicking off a pretty wicked hype train. Oh, I also wanted to do right-wing watch stuff. I guess I should pull that up. Let me pull up my Twitter off-screen, because I follow Sarah, who's a godless degenerate that posts pornography regularly. Tea with Goblins, thanks for gifting a sub. Thanks first time chatters, by the way. I see some new people in chat. It is Broha's birthday. Everyone wish Broha a happy birthday, because he deserves it. Bittergrin, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Morok, thanks for 12 months. Happy anniversary, says, fun fact, both Ratatouille and Venom are about food-loving creatures of a non-human species meeting a down-on-their-luck human living in a shitty apartment, and the creatures can control the human's actions, and he's unwilling at first, but eventually they learn to get along and work together to stop the evil rich man. Yeah, you're not wrong. Hydrate. 58% to level 4. Bim, 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 bim. Okay, right-wing watch. There it is. Okay. They probably don't post porn, so I can probably turn my screen back on. Guyish, thanks for 100 bits, says happy birthday, Broha. 62% to level 4. I don't know how much you guys can hear the music. Maybe I just look like a crazy person dancing to nothing. Huz Khalifa says, been enjoying content free for 2+ years and now finally paying y'all back. Happy birthday to Brohan. Thanks for doing what you do. Well, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. That big Friday the 13th box set is awesome. You have it. Looks great on the shelf. Cool. Yeah, Scream Factory puts out really good stuff. I recently got their Critters box set a little while ago. So I got the Critters movies on box set. I think they did one, I actually know they did one that's like the Fly movies, both the classic Fly movies and the Cronenberg Fly movie, and its direct-to-DVD sequel, or direct-to-VHS sequel, I guess, transferred to Blu-ray. And the box art on that's really nice, too. I'm gonna get that eventually. You haven't watched Critters since the early 90s? It's Critters. Yeah, Shout Factory is great. They go by Scream Factory when they're doing their horror releases, but it's the same company. I haven't seen The Omen, so I've not seen their Omen box sets. The Fly 2 did get a theatrical release. Oof, imagine paying for a ticket price to see The Fly 2. Even Gina Davis didn't show up for that one. Roman Civilian with 100 bits says, hope I'm not too late. Gina Davis? That was Gina Davis in the first Fly, right? Do I have her name right? I don't remember. Cruelty 1 with 100 bits says, because my day has sucked and you guys helped make it a bit better. Well, thank you very much. They have a 24/7 Twitch channel? I didn't know that. Was the first Fly any good? Like the classic original? Yeah, it's definitely a sci-fi film from its era, but it's good. But The Fly, the David Cronenberg movie, The Fly, with Jeff Goldblum is excellent. It's one of the best body horror films ever made. Oh no, did I see Vegan Teacher going all turfy and agreeing with Lauren Chen about trans stuff? Was gross. Also wish Scream Factory would get Freddy license and put out the trifecta. Yeah, I don't disagree, because their Halloween box set was great. I already have a box set of all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that's pretty good, but Shout Factory does pretty good transfers. So if they could do that, especially if they could do it in 4K like they did with their recent Halloween release, I'd be all over that. Because how many Nightmare on Elm Street movies are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Freddy's Dead, New Nightmare, and then Freddy vs. Jason, which they also put in their Friday the 13th box set, but they'd probably put it in the Freddy one too. It's like 9 movies, 4K transfers, maybe? I don't know. 71% to level 4. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub. 93% to level 4. I feel bad for people in my chat who don't give a shit about movies. I feel like whenever I get off track, it's half the time it's me talking about my movie collection. That's gotta be annoying. Sorry. 93% to level 4 with 30 seconds left. Only the first 2 nightmares are worth seeing? Hard disagree. Hard disagree. The third one's the best one. What are you talking about? The third Nightmare on Elm Street movie is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Kirthan with 100 bits says, I don't have a particular passion for movies, but I like hearing you talk about things you enjoy. Thank you. Bittergrin with 100 bits, and MW1642 with 100 bits. Wagroads with 84 gets us over to we completed level 4. One more level to go, and then we can start the stream. You like the space one? Freddy never went to space. He's one of the few that didn't. He and Michael Myers did not go to space. Jason went to space. Leprechaun went to space. Honestly, fewer went to space than you would think. It's just a trope. But Leprechaun went to space, and Jason went to space. Who else went to space? Pinhead went to space. That's true. Pinhead went to space. He also went on the internet. Huz Khalifa with 101 bits says, this comic website gave me the racist YouTuber all the context and defense he needed about why his Lotor casting opinions was valid. The best comment was, quote, all those words just to say someone doesn't like brown people. Yeah, the Lotor people are freaking me out. The racist ones. Like, I've not watched Lotor, I've not read it, so I can't really have a hard opinion on it, but all of them freaking out about the non-white people being cast, it's super weird to me. Dirt Jur with 100 bits says, I'm helping. Procagam gives 5 tier 1 subs. Overthought says Freddy got fingered. That is also a classic, although not quite part of the Nightmare series. Huz Khalifa with 100 bits says, enjoy some more bits, getting back to CNC programming work. Well, I hope that all goes well. 102% to level 5. Procagom, thanks for gifting a sub. Once this level of the hype train is over, because it's still got like 3 minutes left, we'll get on it. No, but Shout Factory Scream Factor is really, really good. I enjoy their stuff. I got some Vinegar Syndrome stuff recently. I got Tammy on the T-Rex on 4K, which is ideal. Elminato says, brave little toaster went to space. That's true. He went to Mars. It's true. Joey is strong with 200 bits. Blackwing Hecate says, I'm doing my part too with 45 bits. That's another 4K I own. I have Starship Troopers on 4K. You gotta get the Verhoeven classics. You got a different Vinegar Syndrome release with 4K. Mine's dead. Yours is Dead Heat. Nice. Yeah, I'm glad they're starting to release stuff in 4K now. MW1642, thanks for gifting a sub. RoboCop is coming in 4K. I know. I already own the RoboCop trilogy on Blu-ray, so I might hold off to see if they decide to transfer RoboCop 2 at least to 4K as well. But yeah, RoboCop's great. RoboCop 3 I could leave. We can leave RoboCop 3. But RoboCop 2 is actually pretty good. I do like RoboCop 2. Not as good as RoboCop 1, but, yeah. D with Goblin says, what are your thoughts about Hellraiser 4 with Pinhead in space? Personally, I'm a fan, but I'm a goblin of simple, trashy taste. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen the Hellraiser movies past 3, so I haven't seen it. I've seen Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3. I enjoyed them. Haven't seen the space one. Blackwing Hecate says, have you seen Vendetta? I have not. Amityville Horror is going to space. Someone sent me the trailer for that. It looks like a funny, schlocky, bad movie. Bittergrin says the only good Hellraisers are 1, 2, 4, and 6. Brokagam says, so Space Hellraiser is pretty good, in my opinion. All the other sequels are trash beyond 3. I know they did a lot of sequels that were like direct-to-DVD just to retain the rights, whichever company owns it, which is never a great move. Unless you're handing Roger Corman the Fantastic Four license, then it's a great move. I own that on Blu-ray too. Calcroy88, thanks for 7 months, says, I humbly submit my first attempts into YouTube as a palate cleanser. Please, Hannah. It's my little boy, Shifu. Also, always happy to be here. You're amazing, beautiful, and you and Baha give me hope in humans. Oh, thank you. In human relationships, rather. Let's see if I can get this to copy-paste. Quiet One, 85 with 500 bits. Humiliated Grapes, thanks for a tier 1. Blackwing Hecate says, lesbian nun movie directed by Paul Verhoeven. Ferris Hex, thanks for gifting a sub. And continuing a gift sub. Alright, let's see if this link will work. There we go. Save that for a little later. And Humiliated Grapes with 300 bits. Thanks for the hype train, everyone. That was a good hype train. I really, really appreciate it. All the support. Helps keep the channel going. Allows me to do these streams regularly, so I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So let's get down to business to defeat the Chuds. Oh, that kind of fits. Okay, cool. Blackwing Hecate says, I feel really, really dumb. I was wondering what Lotar was. Didn't realize you meant Lotor. Sorry. Accent. I do plan, for the record, I plan on watching Lord of the Rings eventually. I just haven't seen it. I know everyone's like, you haven't seen Lord of the Rings. No, I haven't. I'll see it eventually. I'm not in a hurry. It's fine. They're not going anywhere. Morok says, as a longtime Lotor fangirl, Tolkien never really mentioned skin tone, but one of the factions were called the Easterlings, and the Haradrim were straight up from not Africa, so I wouldn't be surprised if he intended for there to be more than one race. Also, Tolkien specifically said his notes, in his notes and the appendices, that while the Easterlings worshipped Morgoth, Sauron's boss, the reason Sauron lost the War of the Ring was because the good Easterlings were able to interfere with them. That's good. Poetic Fox says, my manager made me cut my hair for work because our regional was coming in today. I got here and the regional was already gone. Oh my god. Can your job make you cut your hair? Is that even legal? Like, if you're already hired and they approved your hair, is that fucking legal? The fuck? Anyway. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything new on Right Wing Watch that's of interest. Oh no. Michael Flynn, what are you doing now?
This is a war that we're in. This is a big time.
Oop, I need to turn the volume up. Mike Max says, speaking of Tolkien, did you know Tolkien is actually... Did I know Tolkien is actually Tolkien? I didn't know.
Spiritual war. I mean, people like Nancy Pelosi, she's a demon. You know?
Now, I don't like Nancy Pelosi very much either, but I don't think she's a demon. Demons aren't real.
This is a war that...
Reminder that he was a general in the United States military. You know, the one with all the nukes. Good Lord.
As patriot fighters, we are not going to let a blatant election fraud. We will not.
There was no election fraud. That's been shown time and time again. There have been multiple audits. There have been dozens of court cases. You've not won once. Stop lying. Poetic Fox says, if it's beyond my collar, I have to put it in a ponytail, but I hadn't grown out long enough for that yet, so manager told me to cut it or call in sick and lose my hours for today. Oof. Holy shit, the world sucks.
Tolerate that in our constitutional republic. We're going to take this country back. We're going to send some people to jail, and they're going to spend a lot of time in jail for stealing the election.
We're almost at the midterms. Is this seriously just going to be their strategy? Seems like a weird strategy. None of the voting counted last time, but go vote for me in the midterms for reasons.
And just like our founders who fought and sacrificed everything for our constitutional republic, it's our turn now. This is our 1776 moment. We got to stand and we got to fight. We got to stand up and fight for this republic, because if we don't stand and fight today, we will have no freedom to fight for tomorrow. We, the people, we've got to rise up out of the ashes like the phoenix and let our voices be heard. And when they hear our voices, they're going to hear that we will fight for free and fair elections. We will send those that cheated us to prison. We will audit the election, and we will put...
It's been audited! What are you talking about? It's like they get on a talking point and they, don't know what to do afterward. They don't know what to do once that talking point's no longer a thing. It's been audited. It happened. You lost. But they just keep repeating it. It's so weird. Daddy Sume with 50-bit says, sup sissies, bottoms, tops, dominance, and everyone who loves Daddy.
We the people first. Who's with me? Who's willing to stand at the gates of freedom? Who's willing to stand and fight for this country? Woo!
Yeah, he sounds like Peter because Peter listens to people like this all the time. Tea with Goblin says, it's been nearly 18 months since the election. There was no fraud. Go touch grass and use all the energy to help out at a soup kitchen or pick up rubbish off the street or something. FFS, I thought I was an obsessive weirdo.
We are fighting a spiritual warfare right now. We are fighting against a Luciferian cabal, sociopathic, Machiavellian elitist. They want to be our overlords. They see the 99% as useless eaters. And it's time that we rise.
It's cute that they think they're 99% of the population when they couldn't even win the last election. Narnia Owl says they're like sovereign citizens, not consenting arrests. How many? I think since the year 2000, Republicans have won the popular vote once for the presidency, and it was George W. Bush after 9/11. You're not popular, guys.
Up, and we show them that we have all the damn power.
It was almost 20 years ago the last time Republican president had a majority of the votes in the country. Nick says, life is imitating that episode of Family Guy where Lois becomes mayor, but just spewing buzzwords. Yeah, she kept going, 9, 11, and they'd cheer.
We're not just going to hold the line like the truckers are in Ottawa. We're going to get aggressive. We're going to start
worked out
taking
great for
offices.
them.
And just like Emily and Kimberly, there's some call on your life. If you're being called to run for a school board, a mayorship, or any political office, any place that you can control power, take it. Get that power. Take it back from the sociopaths. Soros is sending them into your cities to take control of everything. Your children are being indoctrinated.
Start paying attention to local elections, please. Seriously, this is some big strategy Republicans and crazy right-wing Republicans are doing right now, is pushing a lot of local candidates in school boards and other small local elections. Pay attention to these. I know you normally haven't thought that it mattered. It matters. Please pay attention to these elections before you go to vote and make sure you know who's who and actually vote for these things.
Your doctors are being brainwashed, and it's time that you rise up, reclaim your power, and I got a message to the Luciferian cabal, to the overlords. We're coming
Just repeating QAnon conspiracy stuff.
for you. We're going to take back, we're going to reclaim everything that you took from us. We're going to take it all back, and we're going to knock you into the dirt. You will learn that this is not a country that you come after. You will not mask our children. You will not lock us down again. The science is settled. You're done. We're back in power.
That's not fashy at all and very scary.
On Putin's side. I'm not on Putin's side. I'm not on Zelensky's side.
Stone Corbell says, dying of preventable disease to own the libs.
I'm not on Trump's side. I'm on God's side. God's side is the side of truth. It just so happens that right now, our President Trump is on the side of God. Also, believe it or not, so is Putin. Right before
Hydrate.
I came on here, this is what was sent to me. A Russian soldier. I even have his name, and I can't give it. I'm sorry. I can't. Just research it. I'm sure it'll start coming out.
Research. Has Peter made a video about this? Not yet.
Searching for bioweapons. There was him and a few of the other soldiers searching for bioweapons in central Ukraine.
They're literally falling for Russian propaganda. They're literally falling for Russian propaganda. Rageology, what would you like me to put on for the hats off?
Stumbled upon a child trafficking den. Dimly lit, filthy bunker holding approximately 100 young boys and girls. He said they were terrified, huddled together, and when the flashlights went on them, their eyes were dilated because they've been in the dark so long. Sex trafficking den. And they're looking.
This is all bullshit. The flower crown, can do. I think QAnon people are honestly have to be some of the easiest people to manipulate on the planet. It's kind of bizarre and, like, super depressing in just the worst way.
He said, this is a guy, and I literally listened to his video years ago, speaking of Putin, where he said, the world is run. The entire world is run by Luciferian pedophiles. Really? And I am the only one fighting the Antichrist. This was before Trump. He literally has thought himself for years as being the only one fighting.
H. Baird says, if QAnon turns out to have been a Russian op all along, I'm going to be very disappointed. I don't think it was started as one. I think it was genuinely just some asshole on 4chan trolling people. But at a certain point, I think it certainly got picked up as a narrative driven by those sort of troll farms in order to further drive a wedge between, you know, Sort of normal people and conspiracy wackos in the United States.
The Antichrist, and that he has seen what's going on. It's with the Clinton family, the Obama family, the Biden family, enmeshed to unbelievable degrees. And you'll see Nancy Pelosi, again, like I said, her son been involved in and presently on the board of.
Man, it's convenient that just every political enemy they have is someone that has committed terrible crimes against humanity. It's almost like they're trying to give pretext for killing their political enemies. Weird. That's not creepy and fascist at all.
Major things there. There has been money laundering that's taking place, human trafficking. It ties into all the worst of the worst that any of you have been hearing about over the last couple of years. And this base of operations, this is kind of a surprise. We're hearing how it just like, it's not just that it was marginally bad, but really epicenter for even future plans of this global domination through the New World Order, which, to remind those of you who have never heard anything about it, the end game you want to know about is depopulation of planet Earth by 90%.
No one is going to do that intentionally. It doesn't make sense. I'm not even talking about the economy in terms of like a line goes up. In terms of supply chains and our ability to live the standard of life that we live in this day and age with computers and electricity readily available in developed countries and running water and stores that are full of like goods and stuff. If you destroyed 90% of people on the planet, it would be Mad Max. It would be done. Society would completely collapse. That is not even sustainable as an evil plan.
Where there is, their ideal is really 500 million very obedient transhumanist people that they've had enough vaccines and upgrades, and combined with the 5G where they're really
that meant nothing.
Robots, and they are there at the service of these elite Illuminatis that run the planet. And if you think that sounds like,
I feel like I'm already on Tinfoil Tuesday and it's only Monday.
Like, hopefully all of you have heard enough now to know this is not conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. This is
nope. It's a bunch of nonsense. Can't show Nick, unfortunately, though I wish I could. Gotta save Nick for the patron-only live streams on YouTube. So if you want to become a patron and see me talk about Nick Fuentes, we do that a lot. Stone Corbell says, vaccines in the 5G is my new pop-up pop punk band name. Killjoy says, word salad, yummy.
America First movement is inevitable. We are breaking through the...
White nationalist Vincent James praises Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene for, quote, mainstreaming our message by speaking at AFPAC.
This Overton window. And speakers like Marjorie Taylor Greene, speakers like Wendy Rogers, speakers like Sheriff Joe Arpaio, Paul Goes.
Can I cover Razor Fist here again, or is he still a patron-only thing? Did he get put back on Twitch? He was banned at one point. I don't know if his ban got reversed. If it got reversed, I can do him again. Nick says, whoever is propping him up to earn money instead of getting him mental help will burn in hell. I don't believe in hell. I don't think that's a thing.
Osar, Janice McGeehan, Steve King, Michelle Malkin, John Miller, some of these speakers, it doesn't matter what they say, okay? You have to really think about the end game here. You have to take a look at this from a 30,000-foot view. It doesn't matter what they say. Doesn't matter that their message might be diametrically or completely the opposite of the message of some of the other speakers there. It's about gaining legitimacy, okay? It's about gaining legitimacy.
Hydrate.
It's about helping to push through this Overton window. It's about America First is inevitable. It's about fast forwarding this process of everyone starting to notice that this stuff is right in our face. This stuff is in our life. And so this is the solution to the rot.
He got unbanned? Okay, then we can do him again.
This empire is experiencing will soon become as apparent as the rot itself. That's what it's about. It's not about the speakers. It's not about their speech. It's not about what they believe or what they have done in government. It's not about any of that. You have to realize it's about gaining legitimacy. It's about breaking through the Overton window. There's a time for calling these people out. That wasn't the time for it. It's about mainstreaming our message.
Yeah, that's a primary
America
goal of a
First
lot of white
movement,
nationalists, at least the new white nationalists, people who were kind of spearheaded by people like Richard Spencer, and now the torch has been taken up by people like Nick Fuentes, people like this guy, people like John Doyle, trying to launder their message in such a way that they can make it seem reasonable. Basically not saying the quiet part out loud, keeping it quiet, keeping the mask on enough, until such a time as they can push the Overton window far enough right that it becomes acceptable for them to openly push their white nationalist, outright fascist beliefs, quite frankly. So, it's not good. And it needs to be called out when it happens. It's really, 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 really not good that Marjorie Taylor Greene went to AFPAC, and whether or not we think she's a legitimate person and a legitimate politician, the right does. The right likes Marjorie Taylor Greene. The fact that she went and spoke with Nick Fuentes legitimizes that for them, and it pushes the Republican Party even further to the right than they already are, which should scare you, because it's scary. I think that's probably enough right-wing watch. We can probably move on for now into the longer form videos. Do we want Abby or Ben first? Who gets sloppy seconds? Who we doing first? Ben or Abby? I'll do a poll. I'll do a quick poll. Hold on. Okay. Vote in the poll so we can figure out who we're going to watch first, Abby or Ben. Blackwing Hackety says Blabby. See, I'd call Ben Blabby because he just talks and talks. Glass houses, Hannah. Abby's winning right now. Like 40 seconds left on this poll. Do. Abby won this election by a lot. Yeah, it's not even close. Abby's pulling 70% of the vote right now. 69. Nice. If Abby can win with 69% of the vote, that's excellent. Blackwing Hecate says, I've got a dip. Got class. Hope class goes well. Abby wins with 69% of the vote. Perfect. Alright, let's watch Abby. So we haven't taken a look at Ben Shapiro's sister lately. Ben Shapiro's sister, Abby Shapiro, who of course has her channel Classically Abby, has a new video on why premarital relations are not good for you. So we'll watch this real quick and sort of talk about why, while it is okay to do whatever you want in terms of, quote, saving yourself or whatever, that does not necessarily make it universal for everyone. Let's take a look at what she has to say.
Hello, Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video, where we're going to be talking about why our modern approach to sex is actually way worse for women. If you are new to my channel, here we talk about classic living and traditional values. And I would love if you would consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell, as well as heading over to my Substack newsletter where you can join our amazing community of women and get access to a ton of exclusive content, including my book club, my podcast, and exclusive weekly articles.
I just want to point out that some of my videos, and this is really funny to me because I've talked about this before,
And how do
It feels like to me Abby Shapiro is, I don't know if she's jealous of Ben's popularity in right-wing circles, or if someone wanted to promote her channel and try and get her to be sort of the, like, Lady Ben Shapiro and appeal to sort of millennial-aged right-wing women in the same way that Ben Shapiro kind of appeals to millennial-aged right-wing guys. I don't know, but either way, it seems like a while ago there was a big push to popularize her channel and make her this big influencer. Didn't work. She has 104,000 subscribers, which is good, but I think a lot of them are people like me who subscribe specifically to comment or make fun of her. Because if you look at her videos, this video from a week ago has under 4,000 views. I have videos on my YouTube channel that get more views than that. Like, I put out a Peter video, that shit's getting at least 6K in a week. This one's 5.5, this one's 6.4. Some of them are higher. This one from 2 weeks ago, 36,000. But again, we have ones that are 5,000, 8,000. Really, really bad rates considering how many subscribers she has. So, I find that a little interesting. Paul the Potato says, my 42nd birthday today. Happy birthday. Meek says, why is she playing Christian music in the background? Isn't she Jewish? She is Jewish. Both Ben and her are Jewish, yes.
So for my classically...
Is Peter my bread and butter? The Peter videos do well, but there's other stuff that do well. Peter videos do well. Call videos do well. CC videos do well. It just depends, honestly. It's hard to say, but yes, Peter videos do pretty well. I don't like to think of anything as my bread and butter, though. I have a pretty eclectic, like, group of people, and I don't ever want to become the channel that just covers that one person, because once you do that, you're shoehorned, and I don't want to do that.
The Abby Book Club over on my Substack. We recently read a book called Cheap Sex by
Yeah, John Doyle does very well, too.
Mark Regnerus, who's a sociologist, and it was really eye-opening. I highly recommend picking it up if you are interested in reading it, because it is fantastic. And I wanted to hit on some of the points that he talks about. So he talks a lot about how sex has become economically cheap in our day and age.
The second you start talking about people's personal relations as if they're an economy that needs to be dealt with like a fiat currency, I'm out. I'm out. My relationship to other people physically, or the person that I'm in physical relationships with, in this case my fiance Baha, not anyone else's business, and if I was single, it wouldn't be anyone else's business what I choose to do with other consenting adults, right? It's not an economy. It's relationships between people, whether they're serious or casual or whatever. It's not an economy that needs to be managed. It's personal choices people make about what they do with other consenting adults.
Where it's just easy access from both a physical perspective and an online perspective. You can have sex in really any form you want without working very hard for it.
That's true. I don't know this to be a fact, but there's probably an app for just about everything these days. If you're into pet play, I bet there's an app. If you want to be paraded around like a prize pony, that's probably a thing. Which is also, I guess, pet play. What's another fetish? Feet? There's probably a foot app? I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, yes, in this day and age, people have an easier job than ever trying to connect with people. There's Tinder, there's Grindr. Those are the two I know. I'm sure there are more. But the point I'm trying to make is, yes, people can make connections with other consenting adults and go on little dates or choose to just hook up or whatever. And that's good. That's fine. People should have the right to do that.
And what that has done to our society, and especially to women.
Wait, pony play is different from pet play. How so? Now I'm confused. There is a foot wiki. That's true. I'm aware of the foot wiki.
Today, I really want to talk about...
I'm not trying to be condescending, by the way. Genuinely, it just seems like pony play would fall under the... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Daddy Sume says pony play is a subset of pet play. It seems like it would be, but someone else said they're separate. Just seems like they're very similar. It seems like it would be a type, right? Like there'd be like cat girls or boys and dog girls or boys, and then pony girls or boys. I don't know. I don't know people's fetishes. This video is going to get demonetized.
About how our attitude towards sex...
Is Abby on WikiFeet? Hold on, let me turn the screen off and I'll look. Because I can't show you feet. Abby Shapiro wiki feet. Oh my fucking god! Oh yeah. Not only does Abby have a wiki feet page, Abby has a fucking prolific wiki feet page that goes on for 2 pages. Abby has a 2-page wiki feet. Feet are TOS on Twitch. They are if they're in this manner. There was a hypothesis she was perfectly showing her feet. There's 140 images of her feet on her wiki feet page. So I gotta say, that would track. That said, don't go on wiki feet. I think it's gross. Like, people don't consent to be on there. It's not cool. Someone sent this video.
Calling people daddy is gross. Stop kink shaming me. Kink shaming is my kink.
Jesus.
As women
Hydrate.
is not better for women in the long run. It's actually much, much worse. So let's get into today's video. Let's start off by talking about how sex became cheap. So really, the first thing that made sex cheap was the advent of birth control.
Wait, you guys are charging? That's fine. Just, Abby, you know most people just have sex consensually. Elminato says, now we know where those 4,000 views she gets her from. Everyone trying to update her wiki feet.
Before birth control existed, sex and conception were inherently linked. There were ways to get around it, sure. You could absolutely have sex and not get pregnant, but there was always a risk that you would get pregnant. And with that in mind, it meant that you had to be more responsible about who you had sex with and when you had sex. Or at least you should have been, because if you weren't, then you could get pregnant, and that could have consequences that perhaps you didn't want to happen. With the advent of birth control, physical pleasure became entirely separate from the consequence of that physical pleasure.
It's cute that Abby thinks that before birth control, no one had sex for pleasure reasons. Like, I'm sure people were very much like, oh, we gotta, I gotta be careful I'm not gonna get pregnant. But before the pill, people still tried to track their cycles, which is very hit or miss. Please use fucking protection. People used to track their cycles, pulled out, which again, doesn't fucking work. Please use condoms and the pill and everything. But the point I'm trying to make is, Abby, do you think people in the past never had casual sex? Abby? Oh, Abby, no. D with Goblin says, I'm not cheap, Abby, I'm a special offer. Stone Corbell says, WikiFeet just seems like a Don Juan situation where the people obsessively cataloging every single foot picture of every celebrity are like indulging in a mania instead of doing something that actually take pleasure in. And Nick says, stop punishing people for sex, you country lady. And also condoms. Condoms have existed for a while. Latex condoms are relatively new, but like stuff like sheepskin condoms and other prophylactic things, they've been around for a very long time. Meek says, WTF is she talking about? Effective birth control and abortifacts have existed for thousands of years. The Romans, who are stewards of Western civilization, even had a plant they used for abortions. Yeah. It's not new. This is like right-wing puritanical myth-making. It's not about reality, it's about painting a picture of an imaginary past where all of these people's virtues were reality and everything was good. This is a lot of what right-wingers do, is they myth-make.
Sex became something totally separate than having a baby, which actually was not a good thing. It meant that sex became so much more about just stimulation than it did about the connection you were having with that other person and recognizing that that person could be the father of your children. Now...
What? Find me a single person with a functioning uterus that is engaging in sex who doesn't at least think, if they are with someone else who has like a penis and balls that function, that doesn't think to themselves on some level, I should be careful, because pregnancy is always an option, or always a potential side effect. That's a thing people think, Abby. What are you talking about?
When you separate sex
Especially if people have a breeding kink, then they're thinking about it a lot.
from conception, the problem is that in people's minds, it's an unnatural result of sex to get pregnant, which is exactly the opposite of the truth, right?
It's not an unnatural result, it's an undesirable result in many, if not most cases. Abby, even religious people don't want to get pregnant every time they have sex. Narnia Owl says, people having fun? The horror! Faints on couch. Daddy Sume says, I do love breeding, so much fun. And Baha says, wait, what? Just because Hannah and I are not having sex to get pregnant, how does that mean we aren't connecting? Wait, we're not trying to get pregnant? Why do you keep trying to get me pregnant so hard then?
We know that sex and pregnancy are absolutely linked, but
No, this is a weird straw man. No one thinks they're not linked in a causal way. It just is not necessarily a desirable result of the activity.
control gives you the perception that the worst outcome of sex, the most unnatural outcome of sex, is pregnancy.
That was the case prior to birth control too. Birth control just makes it easier to avoid that potential thing, being pregnant. Again, people had sex before birth control for fun. Condoms and other methods of birth control and abortion were a thing, and have always been a thing through all of human civilization, Abby. What are you talking about?
And when
Tea with Goblin says, Abby, Sweet Pea, since you like classical values so much, I invite you to consider the following graffiti from the ruins of Pompeii. Women are for babies, and a young man is for pleasure, but a watermelon is for ecstasy. Humans have always liked fucking.
when that's the case, not only do people feel like pregnancy is now a choice,
It is. Literally it is. Nick says, someone tell this failed thesaurus that natural is not a synonym for good or desired.
that choice can lead to abortions. Because, oh, well, if
Yes, you should be able to get an easily accessible abortion. Yep.
this is an unnatural result of sex, then I shouldn't have to deal with it, and I don't want to deal with the consequences. Now, I'm not somebody who believes that sex is only for the
Getting an abortion would be dealing with consequences. It's just dealing with it in a way that you don't like because of your religious beliefs.
purpose of having a child. Sex is about intimacy for a couple. It makes a couple come together closer and express their emotional feelings for each other in a physical
It certainly can be. For instance, that's how I experience intimacy with Baha. At least one of the ways we experience intimacy. But I'm not naive enough to believe that that's the only way people have sex. It isn't. Some people just hook up for fun. Some people are friends with benefits. Some people have, like, on-again, off-again things with people. I don't care. It's fine. Human beings have been having sex with each other forever. It's kinda how you get more people. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. In whatever context you're having it, as long as you are consenting, enthusiastic adults engaging in sexual activity, I'm happy for you. Good for you. Who the fuck cares? Bittergrin says, the Greeks and the Romans had a plant they used for contraception. They effed so much the plant is now extinct. Beautiful.
physical way. It's a beautiful way to express our love for one another and come closer together as couples. But there's also always an understanding that it can lead to pregnancy. Even birth control is never 100% effective.
And people know that. And people know that. That's why Plan B and other over-the-counter, like, hey, there was a whoopsie. We need some sort of, like, thing like that. That's important. And access to abortion, also important.
And because of that, it should never be treated lightly, even though in 99% of cases, or 96% of cases for most birth controls, you won't get pregnant. The next part of the puzzle is the rise of the pure relationship over the traditional relationship. Anthony Giddens, who is another sociologist that Mark Regnerus references quite a bit in Cheap Sex, came up with this theory of the pure relationship.
This is gonna be weird.
So Giddens' argument about the pure relationship is that nowadays we have an understanding of relationships that's pretty self-absorbed and me based. Essentially, what Anthony Giddens argues is that the pure relationship exists only to meet the partner's needs, and as soon as those needs are met, the relationship can end. Couples are together because of love or because of sexual fulfillment, but they're not together because of tradition or duty.
Good! People's relationship should not be based on, like, abstract concepts of duty to one's ancestors? What the hell are you talking about, Abby? Okay, Abby and chat, would you rather be in a relationship or marriage with someone because of your mutual love and respect for each other, or because you want to make your dead ancestors happy? What sounds like a foundation for a healthier relationship? And even if we're talking like a traditional, I want to get together and have a family, a relationship built upon mutual love and respect and being able to give each other things that you both desire from one another, whether we're talking on that intimate level or a more practical level of just being there to support each other emotionally, financially, whatever's going on. That's still a better foundation for a relationship, marriage, and family than just saying, well, I need to get married because this book says so, or I need to get married because my great-great-great-grandparents got married, so I better too. That's incredibly stupid. That's so stupid.
And because
Meek, thanks for 8 months, and Daddy Sume says, I mean, a relationship built upon lust would be great too. Sure, that's fine for what it is, but right now I'm talking about more long-term relationships, because that's what she's talking about. Tea with Goblin says, to quote Orange is the New Black's Suzanne, it's not just sex, it's love, it's two people connecting with 4 other people and aliens.
relationships are really seen as a way for you to find yourself, they're very short-lived. The phrase pure relationship sounds positive. It sounds like it's pure. It's not based on anything else. But marriages and relationships are based on commitments. They're based on traditions and duties to one another and to your children. And it's...
Why are you inherently connecting, like Baha and I are engaged. We're getting married later in the year. And, like, when we get married, oh, I'm getting gift subs. Wow, thank you. I'll go into that more in a second. When we get married, our relationship is built on mutual love and respect. And yes, on top of that, the marriage is also a promise to each other that we will be there for each other. And that, I think, is something that is on top of the love and respect, that, like, promise that, like, hey, no matter what, I am here for you. I'm your partner forever. And I think that's important. But it has nothing to do with tradition. I'm not getting married because of tradition. It's because I think it's a nice thing to do and a nice promise to make to your partner that you want to spend your life with. It has nothing to do with, like, ah, yes, I must go in the big room with all my family because this is what we have done for 1,000 years. Like, that's stupid. That's stupid. What are you talking about? Kippy with 45-bit says, this gets even more weird and awkward when people like Abby talk about sex and intimacy as mandatory for expressing love, even to the point of, quote, if you waste your body having sex with other people's prematurely, you aren't really in love, end quote. It's so weird to be asexual, and I can't even imagine my how my aromantic siblings feel. Yeah, that must be weird for you. Nick says, if our ancestors wanted us to get married, then maybe they should have stayed alive. Robert Morley, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Very generous, as always. And then Wagroads with 100 bits says, sorry, I didn't know if Disney taught me anything. It's that if I bring shame upon my ancestors, they'll send a fire-breathing lizard voiced by Eddie Murphy. H. Baird says, everyone keeps saying duty. And Arnendia Owl says, and here I thought sex was supposed to be for procreation only. Why is she trying to make it about love all of a sudden?
It's not just about... what am I getting today? Am I happy today? Do I feel fulfilled today by you? Sometimes relationships are about putting in...
Most people don't view relationships that way, Abby. Like, there are days that relationships are difficult. It's not a quid pro quo, Abby. Why are you assuming relationships that aren't built on, like, tradition, especially in your case, religious tradition, that they aren't also about just, like, love and understanding and a commitment to one another. Like, what are you talking about, Abby? There are days when I really don't feel good, especially because I have, like, anxiety and depression and stuff. I have days that are, like, really bad for me, and I've struggled before, and not been on those days the best partner to Baja that I could be. But we've worked through those things, and now I'd like to think I'm dealing with it better on those days because we have a commitment to one another, and she supports me and I support her. Like, it's not a quid pro quo. What are you talking about, Abby? It's because we love each other. Harrowed Elbman, thanks for 7 months, says, glad I've worked out how to do these things finally. Only took the second trimester. Nice.
And hard work, and recognizing that you need...
Oh yeah, and to be clear, I'm not saying you need marriage to have that commitment. It's just something Baja and I want to do. But you can absolutely have that commitment and not get married.
To fight for what you built together and for the family that you have. And traditional relationships do that. Traditional relationships recognize that there's a lot more to a relationship than just, I loved you yesterday, but I don't love you today, so now it's over.
Every relationship virtually recognizes that, Abby. What are you talking about? People have bad days. People have tough times. That has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to continue the relationship because you have 1 or 2 bad days or even a rough patch. What are you talking about?
As relationships became more pure and less traditional, we see a decline in marriage. We see a rise in divorce.
Fun fact, she's just lying here. There has been a decline in marriage, but there's also been a decline in divorce. Divorce has gone down, I think, every year since the 1980s. Divorce is not up. It's down.
And we see sex treated as another path to fulfillment.
What? It's just a thing you can do. If you want to have sex with another consenting adult or multiple other consenting adults, who cares? If that makes you happy, good. If not, don't do it. It's fine. Who cares?
As opposed to something that is engaged in for the intimacy of a couple within a traditional relationship. So with those two things in mind, that leads us to number 3. Getting married has become less and less easy to do. Men can have access to sex with absolutely no problem.
Is she gonna say that it used to be easier to get a husband because they were desperate for your nether regions so you could trap them into relationships? Is she unironically gonna do the why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free argument? Seriously?
Men don't have to wait to have sex with someone because women don't feel like the sex that they are having needs to be with someone who will support them.
If the only reason that you would be getting married is because someone wants to have sex with you, you should not be getting married to that person, Abby. Have you thought about this for 5 seconds? 'Cause boy, he'll hit it and quit it for 5 seconds on your wedding night, and that's gonna be one hell of a post-nut clarity when he goes, oh God, I married someone just to bang them. What a nightmare! And this is why boomers hate their spouses, and that's the main thing in their humor is, haha, I hate my wife. Haha, my husband doesn't satisfy me sexually because they got married at 18 so they could bang. So terrible.
Raise children with them, or marry them. So sex is...
It's just such demonstrably bad advice. I'm so confounded.
Economically cheap. Men are able to have sex incredibly easily or access pornography on the internet.
Who do you think they're having sex with, Abby? Most men are straight. They're having sex with women who also can go and have sex if they'd like consensually with other adults. It's fine. Who cares?
And they don't need to...
Do you think porn didn't exist before the internet, Abby? I have some Roman walls to show you.
Wait to have sex and in doing so, better themselves, have a good career in place so they can support a family. Men are really let off the hook, and women are the ones who are paying the price.
What are you talking about?
Women want to be married. This isn't a question of whether or not women want to be married. Women want to be married.
Depends on the woman. Depends on the man, Abby.
And when we have economically cheapened sex so that it's just available at any time to anyone, it makes it so that it is a lot harder to get married, because now it's not just, oh, men are going to get married to have sex and have a family.
Oh my god, she said it. She said it out loud. She just said it. Well, the only way I can get a man to actually want to spend time with me long term is if the only thing I have to offer is to give them sex. Oh god, Abby, what have you done? What are you doing? I know she's talking like a MGTOW person or like an I-word person. This is so weird.
Men now have to come to a conclusion that the relationship they are in is pure enough for it to lead to marriage.
Oh no! People might have to consider if their relationship is actually something that's sustainable long-term in order to support what they want for their future, whether that includes children or not. The horror! My husband used to just want to marry me because I'd let him nut inside of me every Sunday night. But oh my god! Now they actually have to consider if it's a sustainable relationship outside of me being my husband's cum dumpster. This is so bad.
Now, the really sad thing is number 4. The women who want to wait till marriage are now in a competition with the women who don't. And
wait, I thought you guys liked the free market.
when I say women who don't want to wait until marriage, I really think we're talking about an empowerment lie that women have bought into from a feminist narrative that says that they will enjoy their lives more if they have sex outside of marriage. But the fact of the matter is, women do
You probably will.
not find sexual satisfaction.
Robert Morley says LMAO at cum dumpster. Hey, respect to cum dumpsters. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a weird basis for a marriage.
Having sex outside of marriage, even though that's what they're told that they will do, and they will have a better sex life outside of marriage. Women don't enjoy sex in the same way when they're not married because it's unstable and they don't know that it's going to last. And even though it can be sexually fun, pleasurable for a short time, it's not sexually satisfactory in the long run.
Do you think Abby has ever felt sexually No, I'm not gonna get that personal. Daddy Sume says, I think we're listening to one talk now. Hannah stands for the cum dumpsters for a reason. Ha ha ha. Renania Owl says, marry the first man you see, lead a happy life.
So what ends up happening is
Baja says, WTF, Hannah, you don't enjoy sex with me because we aren't married? I know, it's crazy, right? Ignore the other night when it was very enjoyable. Was that yesterday? Day before? I don't remember.
you have women who want to wait.
I'm getting too personal. Jesus Christ.
Being put in a position of having
I'm gross.
to consider their options. Can they wait? Will they be able to find a guy who's willing to wait for them? Because now that
Raven says, who's telling them this? Them. Who's them? Those people? You know who I'm talking about, wink wink. Tube Man says, so this is how all men are, and then it's a YouTube video.
Sex. Now!
What the fuck?
sex is so cheap, he can go anywhere. He doesn't have to wait for you. And now
if all you have to offer your partner is your genitals, you should not be in a relationship with anyone.
all of these people who complain that there's too much emphasis put on beauty in our society and that everyone needs to look perfect. Well, it makes sense. This is why. Number 5, because sex is now mostly about physical pleasure. It's not about emotional intimacy between a couple.
Bullshit.
It's cheap. It's easy to access. And when sex is about physical pleasure and not about emotional intimacy, then Of course, it's going to be based off looks more than anything else. When sex is first and foremost about physical pleasure for men and women, more than a long-lasting relationship that lasts for both sides, then sexual attractiveness becomes the most important thing.
If you're just hooking up with people on Tinder, I guess. But that's what that is. They're adults. They're allowed to do that.
Not the relationship that spurs a beautiful sex life. And I want to touch on this point, which is number 6. Because marriage is now so much harder to attain, because marriage is not treated as something that people need, it's
good.
Treated as something that people can do if they want. It's
good. People having choices is a good thing, Abby. Annie Kai, thanks for 10 months.
It's not considered the building block of a family or the building block of a relationship.
Good.
Women are getting married older.
Again, there's a reason divorce rates are lower. That's one of them.
It's harder and harder to meet somebody, and it's harder and harder to get married.
Good. Raven says, I promise you, most of the comments under Abby's video are reads, lols. Naninja Owl says, half of her channel is about how to look pretty. Don't you lecture us about unhealthy beauty standards? And Mike Mack says, women, just say you're drier than your sister-in-law. Or woman, just say you're drier than your sister-in-law.
So as women are waiting longer and longer to get married, they're also waiting longer and longer to have children. And fertility now becomes an issue.
No, it doesn't, Abby. Not for most people. What are you talking about? Is Abby one of those people that thinks women can't have babies above the age of 25 or something? Jesus Christ.
Because women are getting married older and older. Instead of thinking about fertility, women are looking for confluent love, pure relationships, this fulfillment that they think will come out of marriage, but...
How dare they look for partners they actually want to spend their lives with? They should jump into marriage and then bed with the first person who wants into their wet snatch.
Is really based on their self-absorbed finding themselves mentality, and the men that they want to marry are able to avoid making this commitment until much later down the line.
If you're not ready for that commitment, you're not ready for that commitment, and you shouldn't commit to something that you're not able to commit to. It's just, that's basic, Abby. How do you not understand this?
Mine as well. And then all of a sudden, they're 35 and having to use IVF to get pregnant, because getting pregnant as you get older is more difficult. All of this is a testament to the fact that marriage has been...
I like that she's talking about 35 like it's ancient, too. Baha says, oh, Abby, the horror. How dare people want this confluent love as a theory created by Gideons, which argues that individuals are now looking to create meaningful relationships that are based on love and respect. This theory challenges the traditional assumption about why and how relationships should be maintained. The horror. Raven says, here we go with the birth rates talk. All our lovely, pure, beautiful children aren't being born.
Become something an elite few people...
Something 14 words.
...people do because they want to, instead of a necessary part of starting a family. And as you guys know, I think marriage is incredibly important, and I think it's one of the most beautiful things that people can do. But without that building block, we are seeing women suffer in so many ways. Less physical satisfaction, having sex with men that they probably wouldn't want to have sex with but feel pressured to, because if they want to enter into a real relationship, a lot of men are not willing to do so.
Why? What? Okay, so Abby's argument is feeling pressure to have sex with someone, to get into a relationship with them, but they wouldn't want to have sex with them. Why would you want to be in a relationship with someone you didn't want to have sex with? I'm that meme where it's the math floating around the lady's head and you're trying to, like, figure it out. Think about what you just said, Abby. Women, you just said, are sleeping with men they don't want to sleep with to get into relationships with them. Why would they want to have sex with them? Or why would they want to be in relationships with them if they are uninterested in any sort of physical relationship with them? Now, that's a separate thing from, like, being asexual and just, like, not being interested in sex. That's a different thing. But she's talking about people who are theoretically at least attracted to the opposite gender not wanting to sleep with this individual person, but using sex in order to get in a relationship with them. That's insanity. That's ridiculous. Tucker White says, I'm convinced, Hannah, step aside and let someone knock up Baja. You can watch from the cuck tent if you desire. Too far. Very too far. Narnania Owl says, we also don't have high infant mortality anymore. It's absolutely fine to have... Yep, I already said. Narnania Owl says, we also don't have high infant mortality anymore. It's absolutely fine to have children later if you don't want one or two anyway. I'm not clicking on whatever that link is, Tucker White. You're getting timed out for that. That was actually really fucking gross. What the fuck? Cruelty1 says, well, she's not wrong about the biology, though. 36 is tragically considered a geriatric pregnancy, and it's hard for those who want to be pregnant or their own children before hopefully cisverting the beauty of adoption. But at least it's a thing. It sucks, I guess, but that doesn't mean people should get knocked up earlier just because they feel obligated to do so.
Unless they have sex, waiting longer and longer to get married, and allowing sex to be economically cheap, and then struggling with fertility down the line. So the empowerment narrative that, oh, we should all be having as much sex as possible before we're married, outside of marriage, and that's really empowering. Who is it empowering? At the end of the day, it gives over much more power to men.
If you make Daddy Sume cringe, rethink yourself. Facts.
Men are the ones who get to now have access to something that they didn't have access to before unless they made the commitment, unless they promised to support you and stay with you. And you know who's losing? Women. So I really wanted to talk today about this. I hope it gave you something to think about. Make sure to check out Cheap Sex by Mark Regnerus. If you liked what you saw today, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell. And if you're not already subscribed to my Substack newsletter, go ahead and head over to classicallyabby.substack.com. If you'd like to follow me on social media, it's at classicallyabby, absolutely everywhere. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Oh, that was bad even by Abby standards. Abby, listen. People can have sex with consenting adults and not be married. It's fine. I don't really care about how difficult that makes in your head to trick people into getting married when they otherwise wouldn't want to. That's disgusting. That's a really fucked up thing to think, quite honestly, and you should feel bad about it. Anyway, moving on. Kippy says the aspec and arospec terms are allosexual and alloromantic. Also, my boyfriend insists you see this screenshot. Oh god, what is it? Oh yeah, it's from the forced breeding subreddit. I saw this posted to Reddit. Forced breeding is closed until Reddit administration removes Russia and other subreddits which support the illegal invasion of Ukraine and mass murder of innocent Ukrainian citizens from Reddit. If you message the moderators, it means you can't read. The Russians have taken everything from us. Nick says, who allows men, quote, access to sex, Abby? Did I see Abby lip-syncing opera? No, I didn't. Let's watch Waffle House Guy before we get on to Ben.
I'm down here in South Carolina right now. South Carolina, I'm on my way to Florida. I just had an incident at Waffle House down here. I'm not going to say exactly where. It's time to open your fucking doors, people. I just walked inside of a Waffle House by myself. They got 6 tables closed off. This social distancing shit doesn't make any fucking sense. It does.
This is from months ago, by the way. This is from like, how long was this? 4 months ago? Okay.
And this video is probably gonna get taken down, and that's fucking fine. But this social distancing shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Okay? I walked inside of a Waffle House. They had half the restaurant blocked off, and the other half they've got people eating. So they have people congregating on the other half empty. Where's your social distancing right there? I don't believe it.
Stone Corbell says your struggles are greater than most, truly.
Social distancing, I think it's fucking stupid. If you're that afraid of a fucking flu germ, stay the fuck home and take the fucking muzzle off. Okay? It's time to open your damn businesses. This shit is gonna keep going on until you fucking people stop complying to your government who's lying to you. CDC got caught with the pants down, lying their data, falsifying their data. This shit's gonna continue until you people stand up against the government. Open your fucking doors!
He's very passionate about Waffle House. I've never eaten at a Waffle House. I kind of want to now.
Let me just say I took my fucking happy ass somewhere else. I walk into a restaurant, you got 6 tables empty, and I'm by myself.
Robert Morley says, I think videoing while driving is more dangerous than coming within 6 feet.
And the staff was rude there. No hi, how you doing? Hi, welcome. No good morning. Nothing. Just a piece of shit.
Does Waffle House even do that?
So I walk.
This is some 2007 Chris Chan energy. I'd rather that than 2022 Christine Chan energy. Tea with Goblin says, Mr. Gorbachev, open this Waffle House.
Get the fuck out. I'm going somewhere else. I thought South Carolina was open. All you fucking corporations are destroying this country. You're complying to all these stupid rules. Unconstitutional bullshit.
They're a private company. They can do whatever they want.
Okay? You're destroying this country, and we're gonna take you down.
He's gonna single-handedly take down the Waffle House.
The small businesses. To the small businesses. Open your damn doors. Open your business. Okay? The reason they're going after, the government's going after these small businesses is because not enough small businesses are opening up.
Does he think Waffle House is a small business? Stone Corbell says he's not wrong about corporations destroying the country, though. Just wrong focus. And Robert Morley says this guy will sit on you.
That's why they nailed that Marlena up in Michigan. They nailed her to the wall.
Was she that lady who was refusing to comply with mandates? Yeah, that'll happen when you break the rules. Anti-Pretzel says, red card for Abby. You do not have the life experience as a 21-year-old to make these claims. Also, people have higher expectations, and most will have at least 3 to 4 relationships before they know what they want and a partner to get into a relationship with. Is Abby only 21? Abby cannot be 21. Bittergrin says, if hurricanes haven't managed to destroy Waffle... Oh, different Abby? Okay. Bittergrin says, if hurricanes haven't managed to destroy Waffle House, he doesn't stand a chance. She's 28. That makes a lot more sense. Raven says, want the Waffle House experience? Go buy some vegetable oil and drink it.
I was in the courtroom.
What's the northern version of Waffle House? I don't know, like a Denny's? Like a, I don't know, a IHOP?
When I watched that bitch judge do what she did, she needs to be disbarred. She came here from Poland to escape tyranny. We're not a communist country. Take off the fucking muzzle, take off the mask. If you're that afraid of life, stay home so us other people can live. We're only gonna get past this shit if your people would stop listening to the fucking false bullshit. Stop listening to the CDC. Stop listening to the...
He reminds you of CC? Yeah, very similar.
Federal government. Stop listening to fucking CNN and Dr.
Those aren't similar at all. Waffle House has the kitchen out in the open. There's really nothing like it. Okay, then we have no similar restaurant. Raven says, communism is when no loaded hash browns.
Fauci, get...
Let me see when where the closest Waffle House is.
Past that shit. We're fucking a year and a half into this shit already. We're almost halfway to 2021. And we're still dealing with this bullshit. COVID germs is gonna be here for the next 20 years. Just like AIDS. When AIDS first came out in the 70s, we didn't know what the fuck it was. They didn't call it AIDS to the 80s. It's still here!
Yeah, I think the closest one is in Ohio. I'm not going to Ohio for Waffle House. Stone Corbell says, honestly, if the pandemic ends, I might just keep wearing a mask in public just to annoy these people. The government can't tell me not to wear a mask. Tea with Goblin says, stay home so we can spread disease and eat breakfast foods like goddamned American patriots. Star Spangled Eagle flies overhead. Hydrate.
It's not as strong as it was. I think its highlight was the 90s. COVID's gonna die out. It will. It's probably gonna be here for the next 10 years.
It's probably endemic, but the issue is that it still is coming in large waves, which overwhelms hospitals. It's really, really not good. Do I want to click the Daddy Sume link? Someone check the Daddy Sume link for me, please.
We have to fucking live with. You know what it is? It's a fucking germ! Those tests don't mean shit! A little fucking germ you pick up and it strikes positive.
That's how disease works.
My god! Michigan's got a fucking outbreak of astronomical low.
D-Zug says, something about the way he speaks reminds me of Tourette's dad. Checking Daddy Sume's link. Every time she tweets, J.K. Rowling makes me and dozens of other women I know that bit braver. And what better time to gather up courage than on the eve of International Women's Day? Don't be silent. Daddy Sume says, man, I wouldn't be bragging about knowing dozens of other TERFs, but you go off, sister. Wow, I actually liked a tweet from Daddy Sume. Nice. Then Tucker White says, from the depths of hell where I tripped in some ditches, I escaped and came... Oh, God, is this gonna be the Power Rangers thing? I'm not in a mood. You said a really fucked up thing. I'm still mad at you.
No,
it's gross, seriously.
Just a bunch of people testing the shit out of. You know what, Michigan?
If you do it again, you're banned. I'm serious. Tube Man says, as someone who lives in Florida, I can tell you that Waffle Houses are only next to the freeway, while you'll find Denny's and IHOP spread throughout towns. Their proximity to the freeway is reflective of their quality.
Every student, college, whatever, has got to take a test before they go back to school. Of course they're going to have the fucking astronomical numbers. Okay? Michigan won't get past that shit. Open your fucking doors! It's time to move on past this shit, people. Enough is enough!
Lovely. He hasn't posted in 4 months, and I'm very sad. He did another video on the Waffle House, but he says the F slur in it. So that's a shame. I miss him. Anyway, moving on. Didn't he get arrested? I have no idea. I heard nothing about that if that happened. That'd be funny, though. I guess I probably shouldn't watch the... I was going to watch the Ben Shapiro Batman review, but I don't want to spoil it for people, and I think he does spoilers in it. Hernandia Owl says, ah yes, the good old logic of let's just not test for it, and we can pretend it doesn't exist. Daddy Sume says, same energy as this. Why are you closed? Yeah.
Why are you closed? Tell us why you're closed! Tell us why you're closed! Why are you closed? I want to go shopping in the Eaton Center! Why are you locked? Why are you closing your doors?
Why are you closing your doors? Yeah, I'll hold off on the Ben Shapiro Batman and for like another week.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I think 2 weeks is a reasonable time to discuss spoilers, more or less. I know not everyone will have seen that by then, but at least then anyone who wanted to see it early can see it, and then they can kind of hop off during that part. Please watch the Batman review. I don't want to spoil it for people. It's a good movie. Go check it. If you like Batman, go check out the Batman. I thought it was good. There are problems I have with it, but it was a really entertaining detective Batman story. And the guy who plays the Riddler, I think, does a really great job. So. Save the Ben thing. Let's see what, MH Darkbee says, after the grossness, I ran across this last night, and I'm sending it as a cheer-up cleanse.
We don't talk about Pluto, no, no, no.
We don't talk about...
Hold on, this is definitely gonna get pinged, right? Oh, yeah. I can't play this. Disney. I'm sure it's cute, but, you know. How about this instead, Ziklen? Someone sent this.
Camera with it being recording. Who's a vicious? Who's a vicious? Oh, I'm a vicious. Just listen to the cute noises my boy makes. Now, some people might be...
You hate that song? Oh, man, we don't talk about Bruno slaps. I love that song.
Worried.
We don't talk about Bruno, no, no.
But if you look, the language of the tale says it all.
How do I cope with all this brain rot and not get depressed? That's my secret. I'm always depressed.
Slight twitching, high up, high energy, and he's not growling at me. He's growling at the rope. Listen how vicious he sounds. Him a sweet. Longer, but then the puppy.
Cute pup. Alright. It's a parody and it'll ping Disney. Yeah. It's literally the instrumental stuff, so Disney will take the revenue regardless. Anyway, let's see what Undead Chronic is up to. This is a video entitled, "It's Good to Be a Menace to This Society." Baja, thanks for 22 months. Says, love you, beautiful. Well, thank you very much. I love you too.
We have a hater in here. Her name is Mama of 10. Now, you might be thinking, wow, she must have started early to give birth to 10 children. No. Mama of 10, really, the full name is Mama of 10 Novel HPV Strains. She's been passed around so much. All these viruses are starting new strains, new species, new serotypes inside her puniti hole, like it's Twister with different genes.
I forgot how gross Undead Chronic was.
But she says to Chronic, "You're a menace to society," and she said that after she flagged my video.
I don't think Chronic is a menace to society as much as he's just a really cringy red pill MGTOW like weirdo who's really bitter about society and whatever's going on in his life, clearly. He's funny more than anything, but not in the way he intends. He's funny in the way that you just look and you're like, oh god, this is a human being that exists? But anyway, Tucker White says, oh Christ, this is gonna be some slut shaming, isn't it? Yeah.
And I thought it was important enough to...
Yeah, he's a lol cow.
To tell the truth.
And let me be clear, if I'm calling you a lol cow, you have fiercely fucked up in your life somehow.
You know, there's so many lies in the mainstream media. There's so many lies in the manosphere. There's...
Who's grosser, Undead Chronic or Call? Ooh, that's tough. I'd say Undead Chronic is grosser. Call is worse, though, as a person. But Undead Chronic is gross. Like, he's...
So many liars saying they're red pill. Saying they're jacked. Saying they don't simp. Chronic will tell you the truth. I am indeed a menace to society.
Ooh, he's badass.
I'm a threat.
Kat, what would you like me to wear for the hats off? Let me know in the chat.
I am oil in a glass of ice water. I stick
horns, cool,
out like a sore green thumb to your society, to this Western society. Mama of 10. Haters, feminists, cockboys, and those who can't bench more than 3 plates.
I like that he thinks being single and bitter about it and smoking weed on the internet makes him a badass. I'm so badass! I don't have anyone who likes me. Look at how badass I am. The fewer people that like me as a human being, the better I'm doing. 'Cause fuck society. It's not that society deems me to be kinda gross or repugnant in my attitudes. Good. I didn't want you anyway, society. Alright. Stromboli for Wi-Fi, thanks for 16 months, says, Sup, Hannah, I have nothing to say aside from balls. Nice.
I'm a menace to society.
What's this image from? The Road Warrior. Mad Max 2. The Road Warrior.
I'm a threat.
This is the villain from Mad Max 2. The leader of the bandits. Lord Humongous!
Your society is dysgenic. Your society promotes, subsidizes, and pays for the propagation of weak genes.
Oh, is this gonna get, oh god, why can't I think of the word now? Is this gonna get eugenicsy? I'd rather this not get eugenicsy.
Your society has created an entire ecosystem for the production of bastards. Your auntie get carjacked in the city? Probably a bastard that did it.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Your daughter gets sexually assaulted on...
Oof, this is gonna be bad. Baja says, a message from MMO Addicted. Thank you for the support. My husband has safely crossed the border. Or my family has safely crossed the border. The thing scrolled as I did that and it fucked me up. Thank you for the support. My family has safely crossed the border. Transit required them to abandon a lot of their things, and we're slowly replacing them, purchasing used ones. If you'd like to help, but I insist that this is not nearly as urgent as it was, here's my PayPal link. There's a link to MMO Addicted's PayPal. Right now, the biggest expense is getting a carriage for the infant and a laptop for the mom to let her work on getting her degree recognized in Poland. Yeah, so MMO Addicted is dealing with family coming from Ukraine because, of course, of what's going on there with Russia invading. So if you can help out MMO Addicted, there is a PayPal link in the chat. Stone Corbell says, getting awfully fashy in here. Tucker White says, did 2016 ever really end? And D with Goblin says, I'm a threat to society. Says the sad, lonely Chud thinks that his little videos are a threat to society rather than another pitiable, greasy drop in an entire ocean full of internet man-baby tears.
The streets? Probably a bastard that did it. Your catalytic converter gets yeeted from under your car while you're trying to go on a Target run. Probably a couple bastards that did it.
Does he mean this literally? Is he blaming all crime on individuals without fathers? Because that's just demonstrably untrue.
Your society, haters, simps, feminists, is dedicated, is worshipping the toxic ideology of feminism.
Oh, this is going well so far. Good morning, comrade with $1 says, MGTOW equals obsessed online about absolutely everything women do and who think they do it with. Make it make sense. Tucker White says, pro tip, if a CIA agent hasn't come to disappear you, you aren't really a threat to society. Probably true.
There should be no consequences, because as long as you can steal money from subservient, simpish men who have lost the testicular fortitude required to say no, you're allowed to keep on having bastards.
Fun fact, smoking a lot of weed and THC in general has been shown in some studies to reduce testosterone in men. Reminder that Undead Chronic is a man who is very obsessed with his T levels, and his entire identity is based around smoking weed. Just an observation.
But violence against women. But the drug trade. But addiction. But healthcare. But my economy. My GDP. I don't care. I don't care about violence against women. I don't care about your GDP. I don't care about violence in the streets.
Wait, you just did a thing where you were talking about people getting mugged or robbed from. Now you don't care? Why did you even bring it up then?
I don't care about any kind of...
There it is. Did this guy get blocked by Belle Delphine or something?
drug
Nick says, we tried eugenics a century ago, moron.
Epidemic. STD epidemic. Respiratory viral epidemic. I don't care. I do not care at all about any kind of aspect of health of this decrepit, narcissistic, consumer-driven society. It fully exists to punish righteous men and reward fat, lazy whores.
That's true. I'm a fat, lazy whore. I'm doing pretty well, if I might say so.
So when I make videos and I act like a dumb, drunk stoner,
act
making fun of fat women, making fun of bastards, making fun of feminists, I am talking on a level that those who enjoy the society and support it understand. You don't understand genetics. You don't.
My fiance is a PhD candidate in developmental genetics, and she also thinks you're cringe, just for the record. I think she understands genetics better than you. You know what? I'm not even going to couch that kindly. She knows more about genetics than you.
You don't understand.
Oh, there she is in the chat. Baja. LMAO. Exclamation point like 9 times. T with Coplin says, back in my stripper days, I knew a guy who did fetish acts at our club now and then. He used to balance kilo weights off his balls and would staple dollars to his ball sack. Nice guy. That dirty old wonderful old bastard had testicular fortitude, Chronic. You just have unresolved anger issues.
Epigenetics. Wow, I just put a syllable in front of a word you don't understand.
I know what epigenetics is. Not as well as Baja. Baja says he doesn't even know what epigenetics means, I promise.
Now it's twice as scary.
Ooh, polysyllabic words. I'm shaking.
You don't understand the sexual marketplace. You don't understand any of that. And when I say you, I'm talking to the average supporter of feminism. They don't trust the science. They trust the TV. Some 5'3" government bureaucrat who has never had to defend his theses.
Wait, why are we doing height now? Do we live in an Invader Zim universe where governmental roles are determined by height? Tucker White says, is the level this guy's speaking on Michigan Central Station because it's outdated and in desperate need of an overhaul? Baja says he took one biology class and thinks he knows everything about genetics somehow.
In front of more than 10 other government bureaucrats, puts on his white coat, smirks in front of the camera.
Is he talking about Fauci? Because Fauci, like, has a doctorate. I'm not saying you have to like him as, like, a person, but he has a doctorate. He knows what he's talking about. What?
Probably beats off to the thought of torturing monkeys and beagles and says, I am the science! Don't question me! And you plebs follow him, thinking that you support the science.
Baja says, I'm only 5 foot and I'm going to defend my thesis in a couple of years. Yeah.
You don't. What you wouldn't know if science is if I walked into your house at 3 a.m. wearing nothing but my lab coat and left an imprint of the glands of my penis on your forehead.
Why do you have a lab coat?
With my 3A assembly instructions written on it. But when Undead Chronic smokes a blunt and compares your failing bodies to 80-year-old, almost 80-year-old software systems breaking down in the public commons, in the pipelines, and I compare the rolls of fat that you, your sisters, your mothers, your aunts have coming out of your yoga pants I'll compare it to the batter that leaks outside
Logarth says, kinky science role play. Don't see that very often.
of a cheap waffle maker in a 3-star hotel at their continental breakfast.
You ever notice people like this that, like, comment a lot on people's looks and weight, never show themselves? Undead Chronic doesn't show himself on this channel, to my knowledge. And I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what his weight is. Like, but isn't it funny that the very people whose entire shtick is commenting on the way people look don't show themselves and offer themselves up for the same criticism? Feels a little projecty.
When you put 2 cups of batter in the waffle maker thinking you get twice as big as a waffle and it just overflows. Looks just like your love handles, fatty. Why
are you making a big waffle? Waffle makers have a specific size. Tucker White says, boy, this man's argument is so well structured and in no way totally disjointed.
Say it like that, you understand. You don't feel good about yourself. Ugh, Green Man's so mean.
No, you're just, like, really, really funny.
I need to bring myself down to your level to give my message. And you are so stupid. The only message you can understand that I could relay to you is a roast.
Ah, you're not stupid. You can only just speak like a stupid person to relate to the normies. Good defense.
That's it. Emotional men don't respond to reasonable arguments. That's why commies come on here, get triggered, and scream about me, and project their sexual degeneracy on me.
I would not want to project any of my sexual degeneracy onto you, sir. You do not deserve it.
Do you know who shares the viewpoint of emotional men? Feminine men? The majority of...
Does he know that frustration and anger are also emotions? What's with people like this? They're like, men shouldn't be emotional, and then they're like the most rage-driven, frustrated, angry, bitter people on the planet. Those are all emotions. You've just learned to only do the bad emotions that make you feel bad. Learn to use your other ones. You might feel better.
Of women. So yeah, your feminine, weak society is disgusting to me.
Okay.
It's absolutely repulsive.
Okay, cool. And society thinks you are too, so it's perfect. This is mutual then. It's a mutual breakup. You go sit in your basement and smoke a blunt, and we'll all continue enjoying our lives to the best of our abilities. Sounds good.
And so I fight back like an online green-skinned extremist. And you say, you're a menace to society. Your society is a steaming pile of manure. There's one use for it. One use. Fertilizer.
I like that he thinks he's James Dean, but he's not James Dean. He's more like Tommy from The Room. He thinks he's James Dean, but he's Tommy Wiseau in reality. That's how I'd put it. Thrash Mio says, I remember Spock being highly logical. Remember, even Spock came to the conclusion eventually. Logic is not the end of wisdom. It is the beginning. Thrash Mio... Nope, I read that one. Nope, that is a different one. Thrash Mio says, I remember Spock being highly logical and raging. That's because he was undergoing the Vulcan period of Ponfar. That's when he smashed that computer. Dun 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 dun. Alright, anyway, moving on. Chronic. Men shouldn't be emotional. Also chronic when women are in a movie from a franchise you like. Yeah, that seems about right. Morok says, remember when Spock went back in time and got very angry because Vulcans hadn't invented logic yet? I don't remember that. When did that happen? Was that in the animated series? Seriously, when did that happen? I don't remember that. I remember when Spock met, what is it, Sirach? No, the person who was the progenitor of Vulcan logic teachings, whose name I'm forgetting for some reason. Second to last episode of the original series? Oh, I guess I don't remember that one. Huh. I'll have to rewatch it. It's better than the series finale. Yeah. All of Our Yesterdays. That wasn't the one with Abraham Lincoln, was it? No. God, I don't remember. Anyway. Yeah, the last episode of Star Trek, the original series, is Turnabout Intruder, and it's quite bad. It's quite bad. Turnabout Intruder ends with, Turnabout Intruder and... Okay, the premise of the episode Turnabout Intruder is, someone in Starfleet, a woman, swaps bodies with Captain Kirk so she can be the captain of the Enterprise, because apparently, even though, and bear in mind, this is a relic of the fact that the show was made in the 1960s, apparently women are not allowed to be Starfleet captains. They're not allowed to be captains of ships. They can be in Starfleet, Uhura's there, and a lot of other women are on the ships, but they're not allowed to be captains. And at the end of the episode, once they switch back and she gets arrested for trying to steal Kirk's body, basically her and Spock and McCoy's, like, end of episode beat is them being like, if only she'd accepted her lot in life as a woman, she wouldn't be going to jail now. It's really messed up. It doesn't even make sense in canon. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna be honest. It makes no sense. Especially with the newer stuff like Discovery, because Discovery takes place like a decade before the original series, and there are explicitly women captains of Starfleet, so I'm glad they retconned that. Whatever. I'm just gonna pretend in my head that for some reason that woman was disallowed from being a captain for some reason completely unrelated to her gender. Anyway, let's see what Terrence Popp has been up to. He's gonna bitch about Zoomers. So that's fun. That's loud.
All right, everybody, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. All right. So I got a lot of people out there who are flipping out because Russia has crossed the border into the Ukraine. And
Ukraine, not the Ukraine. Ukraine.
Rightfully so.
Just, if you see someone say the Ukraine, don't be a dick, but, you know, it's Ukraine, it's not the Ukraine.
Now, there's a lot of potential blowback here where it could turn into a World War III type situation. Now, NATO, well, they're basically between a rock and a hard place. They were brought in, the UN and NATO were brought in to existence to keep peace in Europe. And guess what? It's Europe. There's a war again, because there's been war in Europe since, I don't know, before the Roman Empire. I mean, it's insane. Okay, so we got that out of the way. All right, now people are like, well, if it gets really bad, am I going to get drafted?
No, probably not. The United States, if they ever tried to implement the draft again, it would go badly. It would go very, 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 very badly.
Yes.
Also, the United States is probably not going to get involved anyway, considering they don't want a direct conflict with Russia. It would be bad.
if you're between the ages of 18 and 25, and if they extend the age range, which they can do if there is an extreme emergency, you can be drafted up until the age of in your 40s. You know, I mean, I've seen some of the plans on how they're going to do that, but, you know...
Nick says, what's your point, cirrhosis of liver?
After the age of roughly 28, it gets pretty dicey. But that just proves to the men out there how goddamn expendable you actually are. You are so fucking expendable that your government is like, hey, sign up, and we're going to maybe send you into harm's way where you may or may not be maimed or die.
Yeah, the draft is stupid. There's a reason that we don't do it anymore. Now, bear in mind, I recognize that we still have selective service. For instance, of course, I was born with a penis. So, when I was 18, I had to sign up for selective service legally. You have to. So I did that, and that's a thing you have to do. But again, if the United States tried to re-implement the draft in any scenario basically other than, like, literal Nazis rising from the grave and trying to take over the planet, people aren't going to be happy. That would not go well.
And if
Tucker White says, don't you just love how the music matches the tone and charisma of this man? Slaughterama says, for the record, being gay, trans, or mentally ill excludes you from the draft, so everyone in this chat is safe. How do they feel about furries? Tea with Goblins says, honestly, watching Terrence Popp has been good for me because while I certainly like a gin and tonic or 6, I never ever want to be like him. John Doyle is a lol cow and Call is genuinely concerning, but Terrence is just pathetic.
If you don't go, we'll throw you in prison. Now, I myself am not a fan of that kind of shit. Like, I enlisted in the military because I believed in this country, and
past tense,
I was willing to defend it. Now, unfortunately, our government is shit the bed, and they've been shitting the bed since the 70s. And that national pride has faded, and individuals, you know, willing to step forward and defend this country has faded.
We still have, like, a giant military. What are you talking about? We still have one of the largest militaries on the planet, not only in terms of spending, but actual manpower. Tucker White says, wait, I'm half gay, so how does that affect my draft status? Being bi doesn't make you half gay. You're bi. Whatever.
Especially with all of the horror stories coming out of the service about incompetent people being promoted up the chain.
Which I'm sure has never been a thing in the military before, if that's even the case now.
About you being treated like a goddamn guinea pig, which I find reprehensible.
He's talking about getting vaccinations, which have basically been mandatory in the military since vaccines have been a thing. Ask someone who's been in the military about the peanut butter shot. They'll tell you about it.
They've basically watered down and removed all of the benefits for going into the military, except for the GI Bill.
Tea with Goblin says, okay, the draft is bad, but I would give my left tit to see a furry battalion storming the beach at Normandy. I wouldn't, because they'd all die. Just because you can't see in the fursuits. Your vision, I'm gonna imagine, is gonna be very, very, very reduced. I don't want to see Saving Private Ryan, but furries is all I'm saying.
Now, if they allow people to bankrupt on student loans, then there is no reason for the GI Bill. And
the GI Bill is fucked up and a way to prey upon low-income Americans in order to incentivize them to join the military. It's not good.
That is going to go by the wayside as well.
Logarth says, not only are there a ton of military furs, but there are a ton of military bronies. You're excluded if you have ADHD or autism? Okay, I'm good then. I have ADHD, so. Also trans, but, you know. I don't even know what the policy is at this point. I know Trump's administration banned trans people from the military. I don't even remember if Biden reversed that. I have no idea.
Have you ever wondered what a world run by leftoids would look like? It would be a living nightmare. All employees with a criminal record are now entered into the lottery. The winners are allowed the honor of sacrificing their lives to decrease CO2 emissions.
What?
People are okay with that?
But it turns out that the best way to stave off Marxism is to mock it relentlessly and creatively with movies like Tag Conspiracy.
Available now on Amazon. I kind of want to watch that now.
And now, with only a 15 to 20% discharge error rate.
Whistleblower Brett Mauser is back with his most hilarious and cinematic effort to date, and you can support free speech films like this by going to notsosane.com.
Tube Man says, don't worry, Hannah, they would just say, how strange that the Americans sent in a boat full of rainbow-colored dogs.
Rent or buy a copy today. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.
Okay, now, I never thought I would say this, but with the way the command structure is in the United States now, all the way to the very, very top, they don't give a fuck about you. They only care about their goddamn agenda.
That's always been the case in the military? What are you talking about? You think the what?
And the propaganda. Alright? Now
I'm not even just talking about the American, I'm talking about like the military in general. Like if you're like random G.I. Joe, if you're a random private, yeah, you're a pawn in the military. What are you talking about?
Explained this before in nauseum. War is not a sport.
No shit.
Like, a sport is something people engage in for recreation, and there is a certain risk level in sport, but not one that on a regular basis sees people participating in that sport killed and maimed. Well, I take that back. Maybe high-speed boat racing is on par, but what do I know? It's fucking war, all right? When you go to war, you are there to enforce the last 300 meters of this country's foreign policy. And it will be enforced with the weapons that you are issued. Okay? Now, typically, there will be other people on the other side armed with different weapons. And their job is to kill you.
Why is he just vaguely, it's like he's trying to describe war to an alien who is unfamiliar with the concept. Yes, in war, people have weapons, and they're on different sides, and they try and kill each other. They try and take strategic points. We know what war is.
Second place in combat is a hospital bed. Third place is a grave. And death doesn't care if you're a man or you're a woman, if you're 100 pounds, if you're 500 fucking pounds. Okay, it doesn't matter if you believe in it. At the end of the day, war is incredibly dangerous. And for the most part, men were the people who basically were forced to do it. Now, there's some...
I wonder who put that policy into place. Do you think it was men or women? Link...
Ivy? What are you even saying?
Talk, they're going to draft women, and then it was shot down in the court.
Terrence, I think, said he was in the military. I don't remember where. I think he had said, like, National Guard at some point. I'm not positive, though. Narnindia Owl says, if fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight. Sun Tzu said that because he invented it.
Listen, feminism has won. I believe women from the age of 18 to 25 should suffer the same risks as men.
I don't disagree. If men in 18 to 25 have to be drafted, I would agree that it shouldn't be based on gender. I don't disagree, but I don't think anyone should be drafted.
Which is the draft. All right? And they, too, should get a taste of expendability to the depth that we drink of it every.
Again, Terrence, women didn't put in the fact that only men are drafted. Women didn't decide that. Why are you mad at women here?
Every day. All right. In fact, we're so goddamn expendable that tens of thousands of soldiers were slain in different campaigns overseas, and their bodies were buried in cemeteries over there.
Yes, war bad. I agree, Terrence.
So they can draft you, train you, equip you, send you over the ocean to do their bidding, and then you die, your usefulness is gone, and you're nothing but a dandelion that they plant in some field somewhere. That's reprehensible.
Like, why is Terrence all of a sudden having an existential crisis that war is bad? Terrence, we know war is bad. I agree. What is the point of this video?
The whole thing just got me disgusted. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you know, what does the draft entail? Well, I'm going to go through that for you right now. Let me just make some adjustments. So how the U.S. draft works.
I think he was in the National Guard.
All right.
I'm not positive, though. Don't quote me on that.
So when you reach the age of, I believe, 18, you can sign up as late as 16. I think it revolves around.
What's this video titled? Generation Z, too weak for the draft is the name. Let me see if he has like any sort of page. Terrence Popp. Do you have an about section or something? Odyssey channel. I mean, he's got a LinkedIn, if that is him. No photo, though. No, that looks like him. Says U.S. Army. Operation Sergeant, U.S. Army Security Combat Arms, retired. So he was a sergeant in the U.S. Army, according to him?
Around when you finish high school.
Tucker White says, wait a minute, I'm just hearing this for the first time. You mean to tell me war is bad?
Cool. But typically 18 years old. You're required to enroll in selective service, which is basically for the draft. All right. And if you are drafted, you have no say in the branch you go to, and you have no say over the job you're going to get. For the most part. Okay. So you show up and say you're batch 0114 and they need infantry guys because it's a meat grinder out there. Guess what? They don't care if you're 5'5" or 6'5". Okay. They're going to push you through to the standard that, the highest standard they could possibly attain with the people they have. And they
Mr. Cernak Kingyo says, does he not know female soldiers exist? Why is he being sexist for no reason? Yeesh, even if he was once in the military, every year more women join the military and it's not seen as a male occupation. Meek says, on the bright side, if the draft does happen, at least I'll be in the officer corps.
You're going to find yourself in combat. All right, and that's just the way it is. And you can say whatever you want. I got it. But that's where you're going. You don't want that. All right, so if it looks like they're going to, put a draft in place and you're in draft age.
I don't even know why I haven't seen a single person honestly bring up the idea of bringing back the draft. It would be the single most unpopular, political, decision since I don't even know when. No one would want to implement the draft. It would crater their career.
It is my professional opinion that you pick your poison, because when they pick it for you, the options get incredibly dreary. Okay, so you start it. It's like 18 to 25. You can, you got to be there. Now, I mentioned earlier that they can draft later than 25, but it gets pretty dicey after that because, as men get older, they have more value attached to their name, and they have the ability to pitch a more effective bitch. But if it's
what the fuck? Nanani Owl says, suddenly getting flashbacks to that Romney-Obama debate about how the Navy had less ships than in the past. Turns out the Navy kind of got those newfangled aircraft carriers and stuff.
Really bad. It's just the way it is. Okay, primary purpose is to provide military with additional manpower in the event that volunteer forces are not sufficient to handle a war or other national emergency. In other words, agencies in charge of overseeing the draft, called conscription, whenever it is reinstated, is secondarily to maintain an alternate draft time service program for conscientious objectors. All right. Now, if it's bad enough, they will not deal with conscientious objectors. All right. If it's bad enough, you're gonna get your draft notice. You're gonna show up. If you say I'm a conscientious objector, they're gonna throw you in jail. If you don't,
cool. You know what's better than going into a conflict you don't agree with? Jail.
Show up, they're gonna throw you in jail. That's what men have to face. Women don't have to face that at all.
Again, Terrence, I don't know why you're spending a whole video bitching about this. Women did not decide that policy.
Okay, here it is. On ages 18 to 25, under current law, women cannot be drafted, as the Department of Defense does not employ them in ground combat. Well, they do now. So this needs to change.
TubeMan says, I feel like this is extremely relevant to this video.
You millennial leftists who never lived one day under nuclear threat can now reflect upon your woke sky.
What are you trying to say? No, like genuinely. Like what the fuck does that mean?
You made quite a non-binary fuss to save the world from intercontinental ballistic tweets.
Do you know what non-binary means?
You know, nanomachines.
Hold on. I'm checking Twitter real quick. You got ratioed by the dictionary. How do you manage that, man? You're 50.
Cancel culture strikes again. You.
Okay, now here are the individuals.
Narnendi Owl says, the reason why the U.S. hasn't used the draft in a long time, there are always enough poor people with no better options. Depressing.
Men who are excluded from the draft. Men who are actively serving in the military. You have your job, you're doing your deal. They're not going to f*** with you. All right, men who are attending military service academy or selected university military officer procurement programs. So basically, if you're in the pipe to go in the military, they're not going to interfere. They're going to let it run its course. Foreign citizens in the United States on valid student visa or diplomatic visas. Certain foreign agricultural workers. Men who are in the hospital for psychiatric institution. Handicapped men who cannot function in public, and inmates. And in the past, the whole inmate thing went out the window, and they have drafted inmates, and that's just the way it is. Now, typically, they want you to register within 30 days of turning 18, but, they turned a blind eye to it. As long as you do it before 21, and you just say you f***ed up, it's not a big deal. Usually they'll give you a pass and just say, hey, you had to do this at 18, and you play it, well, I didn't know, I was young and stupid. And then they'll just yell at you. It's not a big deal. Now, this is what they can do to you if you don't register or you don't show up if you are drafted. You can be prosecuted as a potential draftee who does not register with Selective Service.
Is he going to go anywhere with this?
Well, men have been forced to do it under penalty of law. That's f***ed up. That's bullshit. And now we're going to talk into some of the physical aspects here of Gen Z and the draft and how it's going to be just a huge, huge cluster.
Terrence, they're not re-implementing the draft. What are you even making this video for?
All right, so this article is here's why today's Gen Z are at risk of boot camp injuries. All right, now I've known about this for years, and I refer to it as an Xbox body. It's referred to here as the Nintendo generation. All right. Well, soldier
Those both sound like names that old people came up with.
skeleton is not toughened by activity prior to arrival. So some
Narnandi Owl says, I'm guessing he's trying to sound scary to make the point kids these days aren't man enough like him. I guess? Is it a flex to say, haha, the government can basically kidnap me and use my body to kill people, you soft Gen Zers?
Some of them break more easily, said Army Major. I'm not going to say his name. Yeah, so they're basically going on, and they're seeing the wide range of injuries from acute fractures. That's like broken pelvises and hips, and falls. Listen, if you're an 18-year-old man and you grew up with an active childhood, you have no idea how superhuman you are until you actually face the meat grinder. Okay? I've done it.
This meat grinder some kind of metaphor?
Why I haven't shattered or broken major bones in my body, I have no idea. Because I have literally put...
Name the reference I made, chat, if anyone does. Respect.
This meat suit through hell. From the ages of 17 to roughly 48. So, I've seen it. These injuries are from tears in the ACL to muscle strains, stress fractures, with overwhelming majority of injuries related to overuse. So basically, we have a whole generation of kids who stare at screens, don't take gym, don't work out, have everything handed to them, have no idea how the real world works, can't handle pain, are physically...
The real world is when the government kidnaps you and trains you to murder people on their behalf. No, not Major Pain.
Physically weak, have no endurance.
The answer was Good Burger. Nick says, take a spin in the meat grinder, a meat spin if you will.
Don't know how to nourish themselves, and the list goes on and fucking on. All right, mental weakness, spiritual weakness, no character. I mean, god damn, it's just fucked up when you just talk about it like this. There's a 1/3 of youths in the United States are too obese to get in.
That's honestly less than I would have thought. I would have thought it's like 50%, if not higher.
To the service. Too fat. Okay, listen, I'm not fat shaming you. I'm reality shaming you here. Okay, when you are a fat body, you are slow.
I'd rather be fat than in the military.
If you are slow, you are more...
I get to have sandwiches and also not die.
More apt to...
At least not from, getting shot.
Get fired upon. That's just how it works. They see you, they shoot at you.
Anti-Pretzel says, fun fact, Sarge, maybe we put recruits through body annihilating hell. I don't get that reference.
They can use indirect fire, missiles, direct fire weapons, what have you. You need to be able to move to point A to point B fast. Check out my comedy video, Rules of a Gunfight. So, if you are, say, 15 years old and is one of your life dreams to go into the military, you need to put the screens down, join a sport, one that requires running of some type. I would say football. Basketball works. Hockey's okay.
If you're looking for an aerobic sport, basketball is going to work better than football. Football has a lot of stoppage. It's more about muscle and moving here and here. Like, I get it. You have long plays sometimes where someone runs across the field, but it's mostly, yards at a time.
Cross-country running, track and field.
All right, is he going to just bitch about this?
In the Army. All right? Who have physically...
Oh, and then he talks about depression and probably calls Gen Z pussies for being depressed about how shit the world is. Great. Nick says, okay, groomer. How about, we haven't looked at Anthony Spade in a while. Why don't we look at his video called Attract Women Without Saying Anything? Sigma Male. Are you ready to get your grind set on, chat?
How Sigma males attract women without saying anything. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and hit that notifications button if you haven't already. Today we're going to be talking about how do Sigma males attract women without saying anything. When it comes to attraction, in order to understand how Sigma males attract women without saying anything, you must first know the art of attraction. So we're going to talk about the art of attraction. We're going to build up to the Sigma male. When it comes to the art of attraction, it's an emotion that you have no control over. No one can defeat the attraction emotion.
It's going well so far. Logarth says, unfortunately, this trick immediately fails the second a Sigma male opens their dumb mouth.
It's something that's going to always be there. The only thing that you can control is your reaction, but you can control your reaction after you learn the knowledge of a woman, after you learn the knowledge of yourself, after you learn the knowledge of life. Now, when it comes to attraction, most men are naturally attracted to a woman. Whenever a man looks at a woman, he automatically looks at her butt no matter what.
Alright. Randy Owl says he's probably right. A Sigma male is much more attractive when they don't say anything and leave us the F alone. Tucker White says, what the fuck is a Sigma male? Basically, they think it's like an alpha male, but an introverted alpha male who doesn't care what other people think. It's a way to feel more special, basically. Austie, what would you like me to wear?
Because men just have a natural attraction to a woman. And women know that. Women know when men are going to be attracted to her.
Jadora for the Sigma grind set? That's fair. I'll find the Jadora. Jadora time.
This is why they put so much emphasis on their look. They put so much emphasis on their hair, their clothes. They put so much emphasis on...
Tucker White says, so a douchebag? Basically. Smitty with 7 months says, good evening. Good evening to you as well. Unintendo says, whenever a man looks at a woman, he automatically looks at her. Likewise, when a man sneezes, he will start to sneeze.
...and attracted to a man because that's where her superpower is and that's where his lust is at. That's where his natural attraction is at. But when it comes to the woman's attraction, women aim towards...
Oh my god, this guy is talking so slow. Nick says this makes me want to be more asexual.
...things for survival. Survival comes first before attraction. A lot of guys don't understand that when it comes to a woman. Attraction to a woman is sense of security first before it's a physical attraction. So you have to understand this. A man may look good. A woman may think that that man is attractive, but that's not the number one thing that counts. That's the number 3 thing that counts. It's actually at the bottom of the list. Next thing a woman's gonna look at is financially stability. So a man with money actually looks better than a guy that looks attractive. This is why when you have money, you can still get the woman. But you have to realize a woman would gravitate to both of these guys and not respect any of them, because the guy that does look good may be a beta male and she's turned off. It'll be the same thing with the guy with money.
Beta!
He may be a beta male. But you want to know the number 1 thing that a woman is attracted to, no matter what, is behavior. That's the main thing that a woman is attracted to, is a man's behavior. Because she's going to meet a lot of guys that do look good, that do have a lot of money, that do have a good stability life that she could be with, but his behavior as a man is what's going to cause her to act a certain way.
I mean, people like people who they like, who behave like normal human beings that they like. You're not wrong, but I imagine the behavior you're going for is probably not normal human behavior.
Either use him to play him.
People like personalities. Yes, people like each other's personalities. That's a good way to put it.
Against him.
Keirthin with 100 bits says, going back and watching that video of you and Jake talking to JLP is so funny in retrospect. I know, right?
But she won't be attracted to him because of how he acts. The way he acts will determine everything on how she feels towards him. That's what men don't understand. All your little insecurities that men think are holding them back, they think looks is holding them back. They think their height is holding them back. They think their money is holding them back. So they put so much emphasis on these things that they never...
The thing is, he's not even wrong, but he's still doing the same red pill shit and talks about, like... That was a bad video to pick, probably, because most of his videos are like, you need to act aloof and above women, and that's what'll get them to want you. And that's not good either. Alright, I'm moving on. Did JLP call Hannah a woman? If I remember correctly, he implied something to that effect, or said, like, you're gonna end up in a dress or something, and it's like, I hope so. But at the time, I was, of course, very in the closet, so... Austy Wasty, thanks for gifting a sub. Appreciate it. Oh, we kicked off a hype train. Hype train. It's a train of hype. It's a hype train. Train that is hype. Alright, what's next? I guess we could do the Tuttle twins, or we could do Elliot Hulse. That's tough. 82% to level 1. Someone says, don't... I can't watch Don't Hug Me, I'm scared. Although I do like it. I could cut it out, I guess. I did come out as bi in that video. Did I? Is that the video I did that in? That's funny. Guyish says, at some point I'll get one of those otter emotes. 88% to level 1. We'll do the twins. Alright, so this is the Tuttle Twins. It is a libertarian cartoon that was crowdfunded. It's for children to teach them libertarian values. Some episodes are subtler than others, some are more explicit. I don't know what this one will be, but let's go ahead and watch. This is episode 3. Narrator 9000 with 50 bits says, what was it like to have Jordan Peterson giving you an egg moan? Not Jordan Peterson. It was Jordan, oh god, what is his name? Jesse Lee Peterson. It was funny. Vork Void with 1,000 bits says, haven't given you bits this month. Here you go. Well, thank you very much. Got us over level 1 of the hype train. Frame of them in Stalin-era Russia. Hold on. Oh my god. In this episode, Grandma gets thrown in a gulag. But there are some jokes that definitely aren't. Well, that's every kid show now has, like, adult jokes that are hidden. Not even just now. That was the thing in the 90s, too, and I'm sure before. But, like, the 90s definitely had that, too.
We'll be fine. I finally get to use my emergency art kit.
Wow, this only has 15,000 views. That's really bad for the amount of money that probably went into this. Like, say what you will, but the animation in this is relatively competent for an independent animated series. Like, seriously, the content's dog shit and the writing's bad, but the animation is passable for what it is. So it's just really weird that this gets so few views. What kind of weird libertarian school do you go to that doesn't have colored pencils you can use? No, the class doesn't have colored pencils. You must barter for them. Narrator 9000 says, what sucks is that they seem completely developed and written, like there's actual gags and characters playing. Does this show know that working together and supply chains can exist, like, outside of the confines of a capitalistic system? Like, you can have markets and not have one person at the top making a majority of the profits from the endeavor. None of this necessitates a system wherein the working class gets like shit on by people at the top of the company. Nick says, is it safe to drink? We'll find out in about 10 seconds. Spoken like a true libertarian. I don't disagree. These things don't have to exist within an economic system that benefits the very few at the expense of the many. But yes, supply chains and interconnectedness of markets are a reality in a developed, like, industrial nation. Globally, honestly, I get it. It says people trade for what they need. Clearly they never watched Mega Rich Mondays. And this is funny too, because the framing device of this is they need colored pencils from other people. Like, when I was in school, if I needed colored pencils, I didn't trade for them. I just went up to them and said, hey, can I use your colored pencils for a second? And they'd be like, yeah. And then I'd use them. What? Ice cream cones? I like ice cream cones. What? Like, cake cones are delicious. Waffle cones you can just eat? Not saying a lot of people do, but, like, if you created a snack that was just like ice cream cones, but in chip form, maybe with a little, like, chocolate dip just on the edge, I think that'd be good. What the fuck? Tucker White says, okay, this isn't good, but I can see how this could work as a kid's show. It just needs retooling. Like, I actually like, I don't mind the characters and the conceit of the show, where it's, they face a problem, grandma takes them on some adventure, whether time travel or interdimensional, whatever, in order to teach them a lesson, right? That's fine. It's basically Magic School Bus, but a little different. It's got some Phineas and Ferb in there. Like, it's a concept that works. The problem is, they're not doing it to make a fun kids show. They're doing it to peddle libertarian propaganda to children. Stone Corbell says, I thought the conservatives hated free trade because it lets jobs leave the U.S. and go to developing countries. That would be the difference between, like, a protectionist right-winger and a libertarian. Overthought says, soon after trading, the twins started mining out the ice cream and cones, leaving the land desolate. Civil War. That's certainly an attempt at a joke. Tea with Goblin says, even the free market apology in this episode was pretty weak. All they have proven is that trade between different societies that produce different commodities is good, which it is. They haven't really made a coherent or specific point about free as opposed to regulated markets, right? Not to mention, they talked about, at least gave lip service to the idea of capitalism, but capitalism, well, related to the idea of markets, is not intrinsically linked. You could have markets without capitalism, right? At least without the kind of capitalism that is prevalent in the United States. How? What? He was using his phone to record that. How did it get on the... Whatever. The episodes they made are still coming out. 4 days ago, the newest one came out. Anyway. Let's go ahead and raid someone. I assume Cirrus, because I heard he's doing a Ukraine thing. Alright, enjoy Cirrus's large anime titties. I'll be back tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday. Cece is having an absolute mental breakdown, which I know you're like, how is that different from usual? He's escalating. Things are always escalating with these conspiracy people. You know it, but... Tune in to see Cece lose his goddamn mind. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night.